Yo guys, what is going on? It is Invin here, and today what I am bringing to you guys is a very cool video indeed. So I saw an article earlier today on New World Database by Zio, which is called Upgrading Items to Legendary with Umbral Shards, and what this addresses is the fact that you can upgrade any named item that is 590 or above with the brand new Umbral system all the way up to 600, and when these named items become 600 gear score, they actually turn into legendary and unlock the 3rd or 5th, as he goes on to explain in the article, perk, which is available if you had got that drop at 600. Now this works above crafted 590 and above named items, and also ones that are dropped by mobs in and around the world. So what I'm going to do for you guys is read through this article and then go into game and show you guys how this actually works. I will leave the article linked below. Please do go and have a look at it. It's an amazing article. I'm going to skip through some bits so as to not take away from the entire piece itself, but just give you guys the general gist of what this is and how you can get to use it when this does eventually drop in live. And the reason I'm bringing this to you as well is it's not speculation, it's not a bug, it's confirmed to be in the game, and it's confirmed to be an intentional feature, at least for the time being. So this is our opportunity to give feedback on it. So I want to bring this to you guys, show you guys how it works, and see what you think. Now, before we jump into today's video, please do make sure that you drop a subscribe to the channel down below. We're pushing very, very close to our next subscriber goal of 13,000. So if you guys could help support me in doing that, that would be absolutely amazing. And without further ado, let's jump into it. So the article here says that you can use the Umbral Shards to get an item to 600, and this can now be done from 590 onwards, as we read in the patch notes in my previous video. Now this can be done to items that are named, and you can get them to legendary, which usually when you get an item to 600 it stays as an epic, it gets the extra stat point, but doesn't get converted into legendary status. With these named ones, they do. Now, what's important about this? Well, you can actually get the 3rd perk unlocked. So, for example, you'll see here, if we hover over this infamy one, you've got enchanted on the bottom there. You could just get keen and vicious, and then enchanted something you get when you get it 600. So it's a really, really cool one. Now, when you have a look at this technical explanation part here, this says, let's start with some basics. So the items can have up to 5 perks, not 3. From a technical point of view, attributes and gems or gem slots are just perks. So that's why you've got your attribute, your gem slot, and then the 2 or the 3 eventually perks that you get on that item. That's decided by an item's tier and gear score, and the item tier 5 needs to be 600 gear score for it to be able to have the last perk slot unlocked, which is needed for legendary items. Now, like I said at the beginning of today's video, you can't do that with regular epics that are not named items. When you upgrade them to 600 gear score, you will get the additional stat point, but you will not get the ability to make it legendary and get that 3rd or 5th, as it says there, perk onto that item. When dropping, crafting, or obtaining in any way an item with random perks, you will only roll for the eligible perk buckets based on the item's gear score, which is rolled before the perks. When the items have a preset list of perks, the system is still used to disable non-eligible perks. This is what happens to, for example, Infamy when it is below the 600 gear score. So essentially they just take off that bottom perk and say you've not got it 600, so you get rid of the last one. Now, case 2 is what we're interested in. Even if the gear score is too low for the last perk, the perk itself is still attached to the item, compared to case 1 where it isn't, which is random items that you get from drops or from crafting. The perk gets disabled. If you use the Umbral Shard system to bump this item's gear score up to 600, it will unlock the last perk slot, which already has a predetermined perk inside, and the item becomes legendary. This case applies to every single item in the game which has a preset perk list, where the last perk just gets disabled due to the lower gear score than 600. There is also some fixed gear score items like the guillotine, which can now be upgraded to legendary. AGS is probably going to remove these perks later on, like they did with the Needler, which no longer has refreshing move on with the PTR. So yeah, as you can see here, these ones at 590, they do currently come with 3 of the perks on there, or 5 if you count the attributes and the gem slot as well. As you can see, Mortal Lifesteal, what they'll do is, going off this pattern here, the Needler now only comes with omnidirectional evade and keen in the PTR at 590, not refreshing move, but when you get it to 600, you do get refreshing move. So obviously, when he first wrote this article, it was not confirmed, but on the official Amazon Discord, they did say, or New World K has said here, that it is not a bug. What are your thoughts on it? Which means this is an intentional feature, which is so I'm going to show you guys how this will work in game. So if we head into the game here then and have a look in my inventory, as you can see, this is my 625 PTR character, where they've got all of the stuff at 625, but what I've gone ahead and done is done a level 6 mutation on Lazarus Instrumentality. Pretty challenging, but a lot of good fun, and that has given me 533 shards. So With that, what we can do is we can head down here and have a look at some of these items which we've managed to pick up along the way. And what I've actually done is gone ahead and made sure this one is locked and ready to go. If we equip this item, so it's right at the top for us, and then what we can do is drag the Umbral Shards over the top. Now, what you will notice about this one is it's called Diamond Head. It has got Mortal Fortification and it has Enchanted. We quickly had a look on New World Database. You'd be able to see that the third and final perk here would be plus 14 damage to Beast as Beastbane. Now, of course, this isn't necessarily the most amazing third perk, but some of these weapons that you get dropped from mobs or from expeditions or indeed from crafting do have some really, really good third perks. Actually, to be honest with this one, the first two are better. And it does come with the full stats already, so maybe you wouldn't necessarily need to upgrade this one, but for the purposes of, showing you guys how this works, I'm going to go ahead and do this. So if we go into here and we grab our Umbral Shards and drag them over the top, you guys will be able to see if we go ahead and upgrade this to, so it says 600 at the top here. It's going to take 215 shards from 598 all the way to 600 there, and as you guys can see, that will then change. So if we go ahead and click upgrade on this item, you can now see that has gone to a legendary item, which now has Enchanted, Beastbane and Mortal Fortification, and that will work the same for all of the named item drops. So it's got, as long as it's a named item, if it's 590 or above, you can upgrade this to 600 gear score. When it does that, it procs into a legendary, giving you the third perk, which you can check on websites like New World Database if you do want to see whether it's worth investing your shards into. Now, looking at some other ones, just to prove a point here, let's do another one. So we're going to have a look at Starless Sky here. This is a 599 Void Gauntlet, which I've got dropped. Again, it's got Keenly Jagged and Enchanted on, which is really, really good. And it's also a split stat between Intelligence and Focus, which is both of the scaling perks or scaling attributes of this weapon. Now, this one, as you guys will see, again, if we go into New World Database, have a look down here, Mortal Power, which is when you kill something, you gain a 15% end power for 5 seconds. So again, with this, what we can do is see that that's actually a pretty good perk. This is probably something we would want at 600 gear score. So what we're going to do is go back into the game and upgrade that one. Now, what you will be able to tell with these ones is as well, we are missing the stat point up until we upgrade it to that 600 points. That's also another reason to do it. Now, that will work with any regular epic. Once you get it to 600, you will get that extra stat point. But most items or any other, the non-named epics will not upgrade to a legendary item. They will stay as an epic at 600, 610, 625 gear score, whatever you get it to. And of course, will increase in an attribute point at 600 and then again at 625 where you get the maximum, which is now +1 on top of that. So for weapons, 31 and for armor and jewelry, 26. Now with this, what we can do again is do the same as before. So we scroll back up to the Umbral Shards, drag them on top of it, upgrade it, and go to the 600 mark. You can see it's going to cost me 125 from 599 to 600. We go ahead, we click upgrade, and that turns into a legendary one. So again, it's got the 10 focus now instead of the 9 we had before, and you'll see it has Mortal Power on, which means we do actually get that third perk unlocked. Still got your gem slots ready to go, and this is actually a really, really good Void Gauntlet. So some of these are going to be really, really worthwhile. For a lot of you guys, most people will not have picked up on this yet on your servers. So if there's any craftable ones that are going cheap, if they've got good third perks on, or fifth perks, however you want to look at that, and the recipes are cheap, buy them up. If they're just dropped items that you can find on the trading post for a very cheap price, buy those up as well if they've got a good third or fifth perk. And then again, of course, if you see any that you get dropped or that people don't want that get dropped in your party, make sure you're picking those up, particularly if it's a weapon that you are going to use. But mainly, it's going to be a good money-making method because you're going to be able to buy some of these pretty cheap. Now, I've seen them on my server for as little as 1,000 to 2,000 gold, even cheaper for some of them, couple hundred gold. People really don't realize how good they are. Go and have a look at what that third perk will be if you upgrade it to 600, and when you start getting your hands on some of these Umbral Shards, when the system does drop and you can actually upgrade these to 600, and you've got something like this where it's now got Keenly Jagged, Enchanted and Mortal Power, you can then sell these for a big amount. And as you can see, it is bound to play it if you equip it, but if you don't equip it and keep it as something that's a bind on pickup, say for example here we've got Davy Jones musket, this thing you'll see is bind on equip, so we can upgrade that right here just like so. And I don't have enough to get this to 600, but if I did, then I'd be able to use that for the same thing there. And then, of course, I'd be able to sell or trade this one as normal. So it could be a good way to make a good bit of money as well. So watch out for that on your servers. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully it's quite an exciting new feature. I'm glad it's something they brought out just for named items to make them a little bit cooler, a little bit rarer. And again, increase the market value of these as well when people start to clock on. If you get ahead of the curve with this now, then, you know, you should be in some good money. And if nothing else, you'll be in some good gear that people are missing out on. So definitely get ahead with that. If you have enjoyed today's video, guys, like I said at the beginning, please do drop me a subscribe down below, as it really does help to support me and my channel here on YouTube. I do upload New World content every single day, and I would love to have you guys here as part of my channel community. And if you've enjoyed the video, please do drop me a like, as it really does help to support my channel content here as well. Other than that, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for your time, and I will catch you again tomorrow with a brand new upload. Take care, guys, and peace.